is Dr. Joy Francisco, and today I will be reading to you Balikbayan Box Journey to the Philippines. Before I do, I wanted to share a brief history with you regarding the Balikbayan Box. So in the 1970s, there was a national campaign in the Philippines encouraging people to seek employment in other countries. And this campaign was a way to boost the Philippine economy. And then to encourage Filipinos living abroad to help their relatives in the Philippines, President Ferdinand Marcos championed legislation that allowed millions of Filipinos working overseas to send personal goods tax-free into the country. So the tax-free entry of goods started the modern custom, but the history of the Balikbayan Box is rooted in the Filipino custom of pasalubong. For generations, Filipinos have been bringing gifts home when returning from a trip. Pasalubong evolved to include sending a variety of items by cargo to family and friends back in the Philippines. It became a way to share with loved ones even if you couldn't be there in person. The Balikbayan Box holds a special meaning to me. It's filled with a longing for home and loved ones. It's a physical expression of the connection between the New World and the homeland. And it's a way of giving and sharing. And so this inspired the development and creation of my latest digital book, Balikbayan Box Journey to the Philippines. And it has been such a pleasure working with the illustrator, Karen Alleluia, to create this. And as the title implies, it is about a journey of a Balikbayan box, and children will be exposed to the concepts of spatial relations and prepositions. So inside, outside, upside down in both English and Tagalog. Sa loob, sa labas, nakatuwad. Considering the climate crisis in the Philippines with over 4 typhoons devastating many communities and the ongoing pandemic, 100% of the proceeds have been going to charities that directly support organizations rebuilding the livelihood of Filipino farmers, fisherfolk, families, and vulnerable communities who are most affected by these natural disasters. So now that I've provided you with a brief history, I can't wait to share the book with you. So this book is dedicated to the immigrants who have moved across the world to plant roots in an unknown land, the ones who didn't have a roadmap and are trying their best, the ones who never looked back in order to create a life where we can intentionally make choices they never had, to the immigrants who may have never explored their own passions because their only dream has been that we are provided for, the ones who never felt like they did enough even though their whole worlds exist. Our whole worlds exist because of them. So in these first couple of pages, you see a Balikbayan box that's laid flat and how that Balikbayan box is put together. And here you see the pasalubong going in, papasok, inside the box. And so the different forms of pasalubong that I have been familiar with throughout my childhood have included, canned goods like corned beef and Vienna sausage, and then of course like soap, sabon, lotion, shampoo, toothpaste, and like chocolate and coffee, kape. And so now all of these items are being placed inside, and it's inside the box, sa loob ng kahon. And then this Balikbayan box is going to go on the dolly upside down, nakatuwad. And now the pasalubong is inside the box, sa loob ng kahon, upside down, nakatuwad. And now the dolly's going out, lalabas. And now it's outside, sa labas. Now it's outside, inside the box, upside down, sa labas, sa loob ng kahon, nakatuwad. And now this Balikbayan box is going on a plane. So going on is ilagay sa, but in this particular case, it's going on an airplane. So it's ilagay sa eroplano. Now the plane is going up and the Balikbayan box is on a plane. Pataas sa eroplano. Now if we look inside the plane, the pasalubong is inside the box, upside down. Sa loob ng kahon, nakatuwad. Now the plane is going, papunta, going to town on a plane, up, inside the box, upside down. Papunta sa bayan, sa eroplano, pataas, sa loob ng kahon, nakatuwad. Now the plane is coming down, bababa, and the Balikbayan box is getting off a plane, upside down, inside the box. Paalis sa eroplano, nakatuwad, sa loob ng kahon. Now you see the Balikbayan box in a truck, and the truck is going into town. And now it has arrived at its destination, right side up, nakapatayo. And all the pasalubong is coming out, paglabas. So this Balikbayan box has been on quite the journey. It went to town, it's outside, it went inside, and upside down. Nagpunta sa bayan, sa labas, sa loob, nakatuwad. And at the end of this book, you will see a glossary that translates the terms from Tagalog to English. And the two terms that I want to read to you is Balikbayan. And balik means to return, and bayan means country or town. And so together, Balikbayan refers to a Filipino who is visiting or returning to the Philippines after a period of living in another country. And then, as we talked about earlier, pasalubong is a gift or souvenir given to a friend or relative by a person who has returned from a trip or arrived for a visit. And so what we're going to do next is I'm going to introduce you to a few activities that I put together that go along with this book. So as I mentioned earlier, the concepts within this book are, from a mathematical sense, spatial relations, and on the English grammar sense, prepositions. And so this guide that I created is a math storybook guide. And so as we read in this simple story, the pasalubong gets placed in a box that gets turned upside down, taken outside, and put on a truck, then on a plane. And so children learn about spatial words when the box goes outside, gets on a plane, and the Balikbayan box lands right side up. And so the different spatial words include inside, outside, upside down, going on, right side up. And so along with introducing these spatial ideas, I've included a math discussion during the reading so that you can talk about what's happening in the picture and emphasizing the words that describe spatial relationships. You can also consider the opposites, making predictions, and an activity that you can do is just try writing a story of your own using the same words. Another activity in this case, this is regarding prepositions, and this is the preposition dice. And so what you can do here, as you see on the cube pattern, there are words such as on, behind, under, in front of, and in. And so what you do is you cut the dice and you glue the sides, and one person throws the dice and follows the instruction on the dice using the items or using items such as a table, chair, or cardboard box that you might have at home. And the winner will be the person who demonstrates all the prepositions first. Another activity is this board game, prepositions board game. And so if you have a standard dice at home, you move across the board, making a sentence that includes any preposition you land on. So for example, if you were to land on between and say, you could say, during lunch, I sat between Josephine and James. And along the way, you want to try to avoid the penalty squares. And then the first person to reach the end of the board game wins. And so the next activity I want to share with you is basically creating an origami box. And what you can do is you can actually use that as the dice to play this board game, or you could even write the words that are on this on the box that we're going to be creating.
So first you're going to take a sheet of paper, 8 by 8, and then you're going to fold it in half diagonally. Then you're going to do the same for the other side, folding it in half diagonally in the opposite direction. And opening it back up, you'll see that you have an X. Now you're going to fold it in half in this direction. You open it up, then you're going to fold it in half in the opposite direction. And so now you will see you'll have like a plus sign and then an X. And then you're going to take each corner and fold it into the middle. So when you open it up, you now have a square. So let's go ahead and fold it again, because what you're going to do, and this part can get a little tricky, is you're going to fold it into thirds. And so you're going to have to give it your best estimation. And so what you can do is you can kind of go like this to see how close you can get to being equal, and then you flatten it. So now you have 2/3, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and crease that and do the same on the opposite. So we're going to open it up again, and we're going to do it again the opposite side. Again, kind of getting an estimation for where the third is. So you're rolling it like a lumpia or even a turon. So I flattened it out. Now I'm going to do the crease. I'm going to crease it again on the other side. So now when I open it up, you have like these 4 little flaps here. And so what I'm going to do is we're just going to open the top and bottom, and then we're going to fold just the inside like this and give it a good crease. And then we're going to do it again on the opposite side. Okay, and this is where we're going to begin to put our box together. So over here, you'll see that it folds, and you're going to take that, and you see that, and we're going to tuck it in like so. Okay, and so now you have that part of your box. And we're going to do the same on the opposite side. You could use glue to keep these pieces together. And then now on the opposite side, we're going to do the same thing, okay? But instead, you can fold this like this, and it could be, and then you would need to glue this part. So, there you have your cube. So there you go. And so using the cube, preposition cube that I introduced to you earlier, you could write in, out, next to, or you could actually use this as the dice I'm putting a dot here and 2 dots here, and this could be the dice. You could use this as the dice to play the prepositions board game, or you could just do whatever you want with it. You could even tuck this side in and make it a little open box and container. So just go ahead and have fun with it. And you know, you can use any color piece of paper you'd like. And like I said, you can, if you wanted to close it, you could use glue, or you could even use tape. Okay?
I want to thank you for taking the time out today to be with me and allowing me to read this book with you. And you can download all the worksheets off my website, www.littleyellowjeepney.com. And I just hope you enjoyed the book just as much as I enjoyed creating it. Wishing you and your family good health and safety. I look forward to seeing you again soon.